Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. My friends, there's something very weird going on at Lucasfilm. A series of rumors has emerged in the mainstream media that are, in a sense, conflicting rumors that may be indicative of a power struggle within Lucasfilm and may signal at long last, if true, the final extinction-level event that will destroy Star Wars once and for all. This is a fascinating series of rumors, not from my Hollywood spies, but playing out in the press, that requires some careful analysis because I think there's more going on here than meets the eye on the surface. Two articles recently appeared on the same day that made me want to simultaneously cheer, throw up, and scratch my head in puzzlement. An article on The Direct with the headline, "Disney reportedly prevents Kathleen Kennedy from announcing new Star Wars projects," and then the same day, an article appears in The Hollywood Reporter titled "A Secret Writer's Room, a Rising Scribe, and a Post-Skywalker Timeline. A look inside Damon Lindelof's Star Wars movie."
So in other words, you have an article claiming Disney muzzled Kennedy from announcing new Star Wars projects, and then Hollywood Reporter announces a new Star Wars project.
Just so, Harvey. The timing on this is highly suspect and points to internal conflict inside Disney, which leads me to question whether or not the supposed Lindelof movie will ever actually happen. But let's look at these articles to see what we're dealing with here, and then let's discuss the ramifications. Let's start with the Direct article, claiming that Disney told Kennedy to stop blabbering on about new Star Wars projects, which explains why D23 was so light on Star Wars news. The first article states, quote, "Industry insider Matthew Baloney of Puck reported that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy was advised by Disney to stop announcing projects and creative partners. The reasoning for the blockage comes down to media management, an effort to prevent fans and press from further tackling Lucasfilm following the cancellation of a slew of projects in recent years. The Rogue Squadron announcement video by Patty Jenkins and exciting press releases for Ruan Johnson and D.B. Weiss and David Benahoff's respective trilogies are examples of Star Wars hype falling flat, an issue Disney is attempting to avoid."
Correct. Those three projects were announced but never happened. What of Ruan Johnson's Pretend trilogy? It was announced, hyped even, but it never happened. So that's three Star Wars projects announced right off the bat that were announced and never made.
Very true. And that's an important point to remember as we evaluate the recent announcement of Lindelof's Star Wars abomination. The article continues, quote, "After the rise of Skywalker, Kathleen Kennedy shared that Lucasfilm would take a 3-year hiatus to get their theatrical ducks in a row. Had things gone according to plan, Rogue Squadron would be landing in theaters next December. In fact, had COVID never happened, the next film was originally planned to release in 2 months' time. Rogue Squadron isn't happening. Certainly not next year, and most likely never. The same can be said for an abundance of projects. If things don't blow up, the next film now should be Damon Lindelof's project. The nature of the movie is unknown. Everything about it has been shared by the trades, not formally by Lucasfilm. Add it to the list of movies fans would love to hear about at Celebration or D23, but apparently can't be publicly discussed." So this article makes the case that Kennedy has been muzzled and prevented from announcing new Star Wars projects. Now hold that thought as we move on to the Hollywood Reporter article, which oddly enough announces a new Star Wars movie, the very thing Disney did not want KK to talk about according to The Direct. The Hollywood Reporter article states, quote, "The secret Star Wars movie project that is being led creatively by Damon Lindelof was thrust into the open Sunday night when it was revealed that Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, who directed 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel, was on board as Helmer. The project has been in the works for months, and while Lindelof is getting the Wookiee-sized share of attention thanks in no small part to a pedigree that includes co-creating TV sensation Lost and shepherding the acclaimed HBO series Watchmen, he is by no means the only person involved in the project." Unquote. My friends, Lost and Watchmen, or as I called it at the time, Wokeman, are two of the worst damn things ever made. Lost was a complete and total fraud, a con game played on gullible fans by Bad Robot that had no plan and no ending. Just an endless series of lies masquerading as amazing plot twists, but a plot twist without any story behind it that will never be explained is not a plot twist at all. It's just a lie, a con, a disgrace. And Wokeman was one of the worst bits of cultural vandalism of excellent source material I have ever seen. So Damon Lindelof is a hack that is beneath contempt, and his involvement in the Star Wars universe is just more proof that Kennedy is trying her damnedest to make sure she leaves Star Wars a lifeless, smoldering ruin once she retires. The article then continues to deliver, if true, the death knell for Star Wars, quote, "Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Lindelof is writing the new Star Wars script with Justin Britt Gibson. Sources say the movie project is intended as a standalone, but in success could lead to more movies. That plan goes against the grain of earlier Lucasfilm development processes, which saw the company try to come up with new trilogies. Now the studio seems to focus on standalones, and sources say that the story would take place after the events of 2019 Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, although it would not be a continuation of the Skywalker saga. It could, however, feature some of the characters from the Star Wars trilogy made in the 2010s, unquote."
Which means that this movie basically sets in concrete the fucking abominations and horrors of the Disney sequel trilogy, which means Star Wars is dead if this movie happens. So which of these articles is true, do you think? They may both be true. There may be no conflict here at all. Kennedy may well be muzzled, as the Direct claimed, and the Hollywood Reporter article is not based on any public announcement from Disney or Lucasfilm, but inside sources who have leaked the information. As the article says, sources tell the Hollywood Reporter that Lindelof is writing the new Star Wars script. Sources, not an official Lucasfilm press release. To quote Darth Vader, there is no conflict.
Correct, Skull of Calderon. Indeed, the fact that these two articles were released on the same day makes me extremely suspicious that the story about Lindelof's Star Wars project was leaked in anticipation of the article, suggesting KK has been muzzled. Kathleen Kennedy hates any perception that her power is limited or that she is being constrained in any way by Disney. Power is perception, and she hates having her perceived power take a hit with an article like that. It is my hypothesis that Kennedy, with her extensive media contacts, caught wind that this article stating she had been silenced by Disney was going to drop. Now, she couldn't defy Disney and just announce this Lindelof abomination. She couldn't go that far. But what she could do is have her minions leak a story about a Lindelof Star Wars in order to do three things. 1. Suck all the oxygen out of the news cycle by triggering Star Wars fans with this worst of all possible news, which sounds the death knell for the Star Wars franchise. 2. Put up the possibly false impression that the Star Wars franchise is not inactive or dying on her watch. And 3. Fool people into believing that this is an official announcement from Lucasfilm because it appears in The Hollywood Reporter, and because people will not read the article carefully, and are therefore likely to consider this an official announcement, which it is not. My friends, Lindelof is a bad robot acolyte. He learned at the cloven hooves of Abrams and Kurtzman, and Bad Robot is infamous for phony or exaggerated press releases proclaiming projects that never get made. Although Bad Robot is, officially speaking, not involved in this theoretical project, the stink of Bad Robot follows every alumnus of their unholy college of crap, and thus I consider this a potential project tainted by Bad Robot, regardless of the legalities. But is this project ever going to actually happen? Don't forget that previously Lucasfilm has announced no less than 3 projects that never happened: Rogue Squadron, the Weiss Benioff Star Wars trilogy, and the Ruin Johnson Star Wars trilogy. So it is certainly well within the realm of possibility that this Lindelof Star Wars movie will never happen as well. Slated for release in December of 2025 at the earliest, you might as well say it'll happen in the 22nd century. And yet, Kennedy may have leaked this info as a kind of rebuttal of the story that her power is limited and Disney has muzzled her precisely because she has announced too many projects in the past that turned out to be bullshit. So only time will tell, my friends. Watch this space and do not lose hope. These kinds of lies have been told before. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Ha 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 ha.